Alright, so hey everybody, and welcome to my second review. This time we'll be going through the points on Subnautica, a deep sea exploration style of game that's lovely and horrifying in its own ways. Also, I'd just like to point out now that you can vote on whatever you want streamed or reviewed next from my Discord, and watch as I play the game and write notes on it on my Twitch. Both will be in the description for your leisure to check out. The gameplay consists of a loop of the basic survival crafting MMO style. The big difference made to set itself apart is in three ways from the traditional sense. First, the game isn't an MMO, so you don't have to have any worries about little Jimmy 227 running up and wrecking your shit because he got mommy's credit card faster than you got your paycheck. Second, you can't craft wherever you want to when you start out. This means that unlike Rust, where you start by gathering enough supplies with your jigglies all about to get anything done, you start off with your own little mini base of operations to craft shit from, but it's the only place you can do so from for a while. Third, the game is under fucking water. You've got to manage your breathing apparatus, the microbe bullshit floating around you, and any fish looking at you the wrong way, and a difference between which one is the bitch in that scenario. Outside of that, it's mostly exploring around to find the materials you need to get your happy ass off this wonderful wasteland. And oh boy is that a treat, especially with the variety of difficulty coming mostly into play, with the variation being in how dangerous it is to get resource C over A, especially when you really fucking need C. There's a lot more that impact gameplay rather than make it up, mostly consistent of the wildlife found in the game, which is very diverse and plentiful. And this surprised me because it has so much over its contemporaries, and all of them impact your gameplay from being food to trying to kill you just for existing. Things like the Warpers, which will teleport you around in an attempt to kill you, and the Leviathans, most of which will snap you up in one bite. Everything in this game makes an impact on you in some form or fashion, and I'll probably go into a bit more detail down the line, but for now I'll change the subject back to different gameplay with the gameplay modes. There's the basic creative mode for the ever-present base building mechanic, an easy mode for storygoers, a medium mode which strikes a surprisingly good balance between survival and story, and a hardcore mode for those willing to obsess over literally every minute flaw that could have been in your base and personal management from the word go. All of this congeals well together to make a very solid gameplay experience with a decent pool of choices. Following the usual precedent started by these games, plus what I've already said, you'd assume that this puts you and your jimmies in a little shit shack off the coast of a hostile alien planet, and you make your own story, right? Wrong. The game starts out by thrashing you about in a cutscene as you narrowly escape the Aurora, a giant fuck-off sci-fi spaceship that's in the process of getting foobarred and stranding your ass out here in a life pod. You follow a couple semi-rigidly timed moments with your radio to find other life pods that have been torn to shit, as well as being contacted by the SS Sunbeam, another off-planet ship. It leads you to a small island not too far off from the Aurora where it can... never mind, then. You explore what's apparently an alien facility through the help of super space tech and try to figure out why it's killing literally everything trying to get near the planet. Turns out this is harder than it seems, since it becomes increasingly apparent just how hostile everything can be, from the things attacking you while you're gathering basic materials to the things attacking you or possibly even hunting for you whenever you're alone, which is literally all the time. Speaking of things hunting for you, at every waking second, the reason for the planet trying to kill you at all, as well as the reason for blowing up the sunbeam with extreme force, is because you get some sort of disease. The only issue with this that I had is I didn't get too much farther than blah, fucking spoofy thing on my face. And even that was sort of touch and go. This is also the reason for the assassination mission given to the Warpers to kill you and be rid of your waste. Other than that, the bigger reason for wanting to survive is to see the Lovecraftian-style leviathans that get bigger and more insane with their powers the farther that you go for more resources. I didn't get too many of these either, only really encountering the massive Reaper leviathans that kept me from going too close to the Aurora's underbelly. But that's more of trying to squeeze as much as I could naturally out of 10 hours, rather than squeezing as much as I can perfectly in 10 hours. The visuals and audio in this game are marvelous in their own right in ways that a lot of similar games struggle with. They're both also masterfully used to convey a living, breathing ecosystem that can survive much longer than any player could hope for. Little tidbits here and there feel out of place as far as that goes. For example, how the Stalker continuously brings the metals to its home, but only the pieces that broke off of the Aurora or the Sunbeam. This could have been fixed in so many ways, like having the Stalkers use their razor-sharp teeth to tear off little chunks of the already there mineral deposits and bringing them back to a little nesting formation. But they don't do that. Obviously, that's harder to implement than I'm making it sound, but they could have also not had the issue in the first place by not giving them a cop-out way to interact with the player character. Just because they're, an angry mob? I mean, at least the zombies in Minecraft are believable. Anyways, it's easy to overlook in the moment, but looking back to write this review has brought a couple of little things that I can't just leave alone like that. All of them are little things to be sure, but they still compound into something big every now and then that just speaks out to the mind. To summarize this whole review, the game is outstandingly beautiful and well written for its story. The wonderful crux that brings it back to Earth is just how painfully obvious some things were made to interact with the player in some form or fashion. The Stalkers, again, feel like they're being themselves when they attack, especially if they hunt the player in a small pack, and how they will, if you throw metal at them behind you when you're leaving, how they will stop and actually go for that. But it just doesn't feel the same way when they're only picking up certain metals and only picking up either the ones that you throw or the ones that came off of the ships. This leads me ultimately to my verdict. Saying that it's a great game means nothing if I don't have a feeling that I'll go back to it, especially in a crafting MMO style. Therein lies the hold that the game has become for me. By the time I finished my 10 hours of gameplay, I felt exhausted of it and unlikely to go back. Sort of like my first hand job. I also wish that the game didn't rely on its sense of wonder, because the longer that I sat down and thought about this game to write this review, the longer I had to realize that everything is stilted to be great. Wonderful even. But only if you don't think about the stilts too hard. I wish I could level more praise to this game or even give it a 100% recommendation. But I refuse to lie to myself for all of you out there that might watch this one day and think, huh, so this fagtot started here and look at him now. If I have actually gotten to that point, then welcome to my shameful past, and I hope you enjoy what's cringily changed over the possible years that I'll be doing this shit. Anyways, I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and those friends that suggested I get this game. I apologize that it isn't a spot-on review with every aspect involved, but that's kind of the point of the limit in the first place. I have been told multiple times by the different people that have played this game in my friend groups that yes, there is more to discover. There's more than just the Reaper Leviathans. There's more to understand, but for me, I gave the limit so that it would be a true first impression sort of review. What's going to be the first 10 hours of your play. Anyways, regardless of all that though, this is Canutia signing off from 10 for 10 Reviews. I have a ton of different reviewable games that I haven't done yet, and more being added to my plate every day. So if you have a suggestion, don't be afraid to make it in the comments below. Thank you, and goodbye.